Hey, welcome back, friends and neighbors, to another edition of Somewhere Downrange. All right, another addition to the series, the continuing saga of the Panzer EGX500. Now, it's not so much about testing this weapon today as it is testing specific ammunition. Now, a lot of people really like to use a shotgun for home self-defense, especially those people that live in apartments, close-in housing, places where you just don't want to be bouncing a lot of solid projectiles through your walls into somebody else's. And I'm kind of the same way. I live in a brick home. I'm not too worried about shooting through the walls, but I really like a shotgun for in-home self-defense. Now, the camp is kind of divided as to what load to use, but if you boil down the general consensus, you come up with mainly double-aught buck, baby. Double-aught buck. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Double-aught buck is mean. But double-aught buck has some foibles that I've noticed over the years. And there's a lot of times, there's certain loads of double-aught buck that, well, in my opinion, they just don't pattern worth a shit. But I learned a long time ago, one of the best loads that I ever saw for use in home self-defense, and I don't think I've ever done a video on it, is number 4 buck. Now, we're not talking 4-aught, we're talking what's termed as number 4 buck. And that is basically little lead balls about 24, 25 caliber. And in your average 2 3/4 inch length 12 gauge shell, there's 27 of them bad boys in there, as opposed to 9 round balls in buckshot. And because they are smaller, they seem to have a better pattern density and less entropy to weird angles than buckshot does. So we came out today to test that. And we're going to test it using the Panzer EGX500 bull puppy. Bulldoggy, you can't call this thing a pup. Whew. Now, what I've got is some just regular generic double-aught buck 9 pellet, some regular generic number 4 buck 27 pellet 2 3/4 inch loads. Now, these bad boys ought to show you just a little bit of difference. I'm thinking it's going to happen that way. Now, you say, Brad, you know, home defense, you're in a home. That's a shotgun. Obviously, it's got interchangeable chokes. What would be your optimal choke for using for in-home defense with a shotgun? Well, that's a good question, because you never know how a shotgun with interchangeable chokes is going to pattern until you take them chokes out, put them in a gun, and shoot the load you want to test. Now, for me, with number 4 buck, I'd probably have a tendency to want to use the modified choke, but I'm not real sure. So this is as good a time as any to test that out. So I brought all 3 chokes that this weapon comes with, full, modified, and improved cylinder. And I'm going to see, we're all going to see, what kind of difference they make. And I've set out some markers so that I can actually be specific distance from the target that I would be in my home for certain down the hallway across the living room shot and a couple others. But while we're on the subject of chokes, and I don't want to make this a long video, but let me tell you something about chokes for this weapon. Every other shotgun I ever owned that had interchangeable chokes, to the exception of the Rock Island VR80, had threads for the choke at the bottom. Now, this helped seal the bottom of the choke down in the barrel, and it more or less got rid of any tendency a load might have to blow a bunch of gas up underneath the rearward edge and start packing it full of bullshit. Top screw. Let me tell you, I took this bad boy home and cleaned it after the last video, and I had all sorts of BS up under these chokes. The choke that was in it that I shot the slugs through. And it was shaving lead off the edges of the rifled slugs that I fired, which was the last rounds I fired. And I had several pieces, but here's a picture of two of the largest. That's no bueno, man. Check them out. All right, we're back. That's just ludicrous. It's not good. These chokes, I get them as tight as I can, and they shoot loose every time, and that's pissing me off. We're also going to fire some slug today. Remember from the last video, if you watched it, if you saw it, I was having an issue with the trigger, actually an issue with the hammer, not resetting into the disconnect when I would fire slugs. I would literally have to make a conscious effort to really pull that trigger, hold it down hard when I fired, for that hammer to go ahead and hit the reset notch and lock open. Now I mentioned that might very well have been due to the fact that the slugs were Winchester slugs, and they were 1 ounce, which is the minimum weight recommended for use in this weapon by the manufacturer. And they were listed at a velocity of 1,600 feet per second, which is the highest velocity recommended for use in this weapon. So I mentioned the fact that different weight slugs at different velocities might make that issue disappear. We're going to find that out today. I went by the shop and got some 1 1/4 ounce Federal rifled slugs, and they're at a listed velocity of 1520. So we're going to find out if that makes a difference on that as well. But right now, let's get to testing buckshot. Stand by and I'll explain the targets and how we're going to fire to you right now. All right, so as you can see, we got us 2 targets. Now you say, Brad, them kind of look like torso targets, the square ones, but man, they're awful wide. Yeah, they are, for a good reason. We're not dealing with single projectile weapons. We're dealing with a shotgun. We want to get as much of an opportunity to see where an errant or stray pellet that entropies out of the normal shot column may have a tendency to go. We also want to realize that although they are 20 inches wide instead of the what you would call the normal man width chest, which is going to be somewhere between 12 and a half, 14, depending on how big a guy you are, yeah, there's room for a little air. So what we're going to do, target on your left is going to be the buckshot, double aught buckshot target. Target on your right is going to be the number 4 buck target. We're going to fire 1 round each with the full choke on the first shot. Then we're going to change the chokes to modified, patch any errant holes, do the same thing again. Then we're going to change the chokes to improved, patch the holes, give them each 1 more round. Stand by. All right, target on your left. Double aught buck from a distance of 12 steps with a full choke. Stand by. All right, target on your right, same distance, same choke, number 4 buck. Stand by. All right, so as we can see, target on your left, full choke, double aught buck. My hold was right here. When the weapon went off, my red dot was right here. Got a big old wad stuck in it. And we have a fairly decent pattern in our, technically, the zone we want to hit. And we have just a couple of pellets down here at the bottom that entropied out. So that's not too bad. That's with a full choke at 12 steps, well, 12 and a half. You know, that's not very far. That's just literally from the end of my hallway to the other side of the living room. Not a lot. Let's check out the double 4 buck. All right, target on your right, number 4 buck out of a full choke shotgun at 12 and a half steps. There's 27 pellets in a load. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that did not impact what we lovingly call the kill zone. This is right here where the heart and the aorta and other very important organs are on the bad guy. I would venture to say that if you were a bad guy, you'd have a better chance of survival with double-aught buck than you would with this. Because he's also got a left lung plumb full of trash over here. And a couple in his arm. That's some mean stuff. Stand by. Alright, now we have a modified choke. And we're going to go just like we did a while ago. First shot on the left-hand target, same distance, basically 12.5 steps. Double-aught buck coming up. Let's serve up a little hurt. What do you say? All right. Now, let's throw around to number 4 on the right-hand target. Stand by. All right, number 4 buck, same distance. Modified choke. Let's see how she does. Ouch! That wouldn't be any fun. Stand by. Okay, now on the target, on the double-aught buck side, you'll notice you see the pasters of the original first shot group with a full choke. With the modified choke, the group has actually equalized out somewhat. There's less shot in group entropy, shot column entropy occurring with the modified choke as there was with the full choke. That's weird, ain't it, huh? Because this group, all 9 pellets, is actually smaller than the original group fired from full choke. And we get us another good wad. I'll bet that's hurting like a son of a bitch. That probably stings. Stand by. Let's look at the double. Let's look at the number 4. All right, now, as we can see, this is the original. Then we put up a new target. This is our second shot with number 4 buck out of the modified. First shot out of modified with number 4 buck. Obviously, there's only one each. But we can see that out of the full choke, when we fired the first shot, the black pasters were the pieces of number 4 buck that didn't want to go in here. Now we've fired the second shot through the modified choke, and not only do we have a really nice tight cluster right in the center of the kill zone, but we have a whole lot of collateral ancillary. Oh, ouch me, damn, that hurts. I pulled the trigger, the light was just right here. So red dot was here. Center of the group is about right here. And that's how it should be, because close up, if you have a weapon sighted for a specific distance like I do, slugs at 50 yards, even aiming here, center of your group's going to be here. Keep that in mind. But that is, man, that's just a whole lot of hurt right there. Got one in his elbow too. All right, let's do one more round. What do you say? Let's see what a cylinder bore choke does. And it is not improved cylinder, it is cylinder bore. Stand by. All right, number 4 buck cylinder bore, 12.5 steps. Like old Leonard Skid, give me 3 steps, baby. Ow, that's gotta hurt. All right, stand by. Let's get a close-up look. All right, we're back on the left-hand target. Double-aught buck. Now we're coming out of a cylinder bore choke. This is basically just cylinder bore, open bore. There is no restriction to it whatsoever, which means God knows where it's all going to go. You never can tell. Might go in just the right places. Let's find out, shall we? Serve up some love. Ooh, that looked like it hurt. All right, let's throw around the number 4 buck into that right-hand target. Stand by. All right, number 4 buck, cylinder bore, 12.5 steps. Like old Leonard Skid, give me 3 steps, baby. Ow, that's gotta hurt. All right, stand by, let's get a close-up look. All right, once again, double-aught buck has just completely and totally failed to do what was expected of it. We're in cylinder bore. There is no shot column restriction. It's coming out of there with no additional restrictive pressure or compaction from any type of choke at all. And what we have here, I mean, look at this. 9.38 caliber pellets right there in the heart, damn near. One up here in the aorta, just below the sternum, the start of the sternum. That just boggles my mind how buckshot does stuff you do not expect it to do. I was fully expecting this buckshot to spread all over this damn thing. Wow. All right, let's look at the target for the number 4. Stand by. Okay, and once again, we have shot reacting in a way you wouldn't think. Now, cylinder bore, it's number 4 buck. We put up a new paster target to shoot it because I was running out of them little round circles. And you can actually see, if you count the holes and count the pasters, that we have a greater amount, by 1 or 2, a greater amount of shot than we did on the modified. And it's probably about the same as with the full. And it had basically the same pattern. So this is truly something that makes you just scratch your head. You say, well, in a full choke, it did basically that, maybe a little tighter, but it had those. On a modified choke, it just threw the shit all over the place, and then on cylinder bore, it just put it all back in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, we're off by 1. But the group itself stayed more centrally located. It didn't throw a bunch of shit out here. It got fewer pellets down here. It got fewer over here. It just really did a fine job on cylinder bore. Just as good a job as it did on full choke. Go figure. Buckshot never does what you think it's going to do. Stand by. All right, and now time to test those Federal 1 1/4 ounce slugs. And I'm really hoping that they operate better than the Winchesters did. We're just going to be shooting at that armor plate hanging down there. And we have moved back quite a ways. I'm at my original sight-in distance for the Winchester 1 ounce slugs. And we'll see if we can't get a pretty good idea of where these bad puppies hit. What do you say? Okay. And we still have the cylinder bore choke in. That's what you want to run slugs out of. Let's see what kind of results we get. Stop! Get out of my house! I have a reset click. But, once again, I have a different issue now. I have things locking up, and I have had a double feed. Oh, that's always fun. That's a death blow right there. I think I'm becoming very quickly convinced that if you want to shoot anything out of this shotgun with reliability, as long as it's some type of shot, you're probably going to be all right. But if it's a slug, Let me tell you, friends and neighbors, maybe you ought to just get a different gun for that. What do you say? Because this is just pissing me off. All right, let's try again. But I did feel the reset. Another reset click. Got a closed bolt. And that one went off the edge. And I got a dead stick. But I have a round in the chamber. But you can feel. You can just feel it. Cheap bastard. They are cheap. They're only 400 bucks. So, yeah, anything else is going to be all right. That must have went over. I don't know what's going on. Stand by for some after action. Boy, I think I'm going to make a video called Turkey Guns. And when I say the expression turkey gun, I mean, you remember the old expression, don't be a turkey. Oh, he's just a turkey. Oh, that's some turkey shit right there. Turkish guns. The turkeys. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on it. It's a fun gun. And firing shot shells, even buckshot, it's pleasant to shoot. It's fun to shoot. And let me tell you something. It operates. It does fine. But when it comes to slugs, I really don't think we're going to do that. I mean, I might load them in there one at a time. You know? I don't know. You get what you pay for, I guess. And when you pay $400 for a shotgun, well, bullpup, well, that's what you get is $400 turkey shotgun. But you can see that the main issue and the main subject matter of this video being the testing of the buckshot, double aught versus number 4, we see that buckshot just really never does what you think it's going to do. I mean, really. That double aught buck did stuff, I was like, what? And then I changed chokes and thought, okay, it's gonna, nope. And the number 4 buck did more in line with what I normally expect it to do. It stayed basically centered. It stayed basically spread to a very nice, even degree. And regardless of the style of choke, it managed to just always put 75–80% of its charge dead center in the vital area where we need it the most. So, as far as my choice for home defense, buckshots, I think I'm going to stick with number 4 because that's what I've always liked. And I don't think it'll matter if I use a full choke or a cylinder bore. It's going to put it in the center every time, I reckon. So, I learned something today. Every weapon with interchangeable chokes is different. And some of them retain them better than others. Some of them have a much different effect on the patterning of the shot you're throwing through them. And really, honestly, the double-aught buck, all 3 chokes, it really performed quite well. It more or less kept everything centered. And even on cylinder bore, it managed to dump 80% of its shot load into the vital thoracic cavity area that we need that to go into to be good for defensive loads. So we can take away from this that yes, number 4 is very efficient. Out of this shotgun, not only is number 4 very efficient, but double-aught as well. If you want to have it all land in a spot about 5 inches wide, that's going to tear a lot of bad stuff up. The number 4 is going to spread out some, but man, it's going to cut you up like an old woman's quilt. And it'll do it fast. Faster than a cat can lick his own ass, tongue out, and tail up. And if you ain't never seen that happen, that's fast, baby, that's fast. All right, thank you folks for coming out and see me. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you got to see me. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. If you did, and if you didn't, well, hit your choice of buttons and leave your comments. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you folks real soon, somewhere after Veterans Day, because that's basically today, officially, but by the calendar it's tomorrow. I might go out and shoot some more bullets tomorrow. You never can tell. You folks have a great day. Come see me. I'll be seeing you soon somewhere downrange. Bye.